Housing advocates in Rhode Island are raising some red flags over new federal funding rules just announced by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development.
They warn these changes could push more people into homelessness. Our Barbara Ron is live in studio with what's behind the concerns and what it could mean for families across the state. Barbara?
Kim and Kayla, officials say more than 1,000 Rhode Islanders could lose housing under the new rules announced by the Trump administration.
The Harold Lewis house in West Warwick is home to 14 people, an example officials say of permanent supportive housing at its best, connecting residents to critical services they need. But Friday morning, outside that home, the president and CEO of Crossroads Rhode Island warned those living here could lose their housing if proposed federal changes take effect.
That is the human cost of what we're talking about today.
Housing leaders across Rhode Island are sounding the alarm over HUD's 2025 Continuum of Care Competition Notice of Funding Opportunity, known as NOFO. They say the Trump administration's plan will hit vulnerable populations hard, including domestic violence survivors and young people aging out of foster care.
They drastically slash funding for permanent supportive housing and rapid rehousing. They put new punitive strings on what little funding remains, including requirements that force people into treatment programs or institutional settings in order to keep their housing.
The administration says the move is meant to end what it calls never-ending government dependency, stating it redirects the majority of funding to transitional housing and supportive services, ending the status quo that perpetuated homelessness through a self-sustaining slush fund. But advocates argue transitional housing isn't the solution.
And we all know from decades of research and from decades of lived experience that compulsory treatment does not work.
The housing officials told me they're working closely with the congressional delegation to put a stop to this change. Reporting live from the studio, Barbara Ron, 12 News.